Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. Better Call Saul, episode 4, Hero. Some people pronounce it Gyro, but it's Hero. Alonzo Durali, Brett Ehrlich, Ben Mankiewicz. We got to learn a lot about, we even got, it was sort of a letdown, the first Saul Good, man.
I
mean,
you know,
there's more to it.
Do we think that's a retrofit, or did they have that in mind all the time?
I think they had it in mind all the time. Because there's so many other names you could come up with. You know, if you want to have that, you know, it's a pseudonym. Saul.
So it's a name he used when he was hustling people in Cicero.
Yeah.
Well, he mentioned on Breaking Bad that he had chosen a Jewish name because that's what people like in their lawyers.
Right. So he probably used when he was Slip and Fall Johnny or Jimmy or whatever his name was. He probably used
Slippin' Jimmy.
Slippin' Jimmy. He probably used a lot of names.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to find out later why he picked Saul in Albuquerque, obviously, but it's a name he had used before.
Yeah.
I mean, what a break though that the guy you're hanging out with actually has $580 in cash.
Yeah, I
just
don't believe that guy.
There's a lot of moving parts to this scam. Yeah.
But anyways, good stuff. Let's take a look at a clip here from Hero.
Here's a thought. Ajax, Formula 409. You have no idea the tap dance I had to give those cops to get you out of here. You gave them probable cause out the wazoo. Now, whoever somebody is who may have warned the Kettlemans got them out of there before you did anything even more stupid. You should be thanking this good Samaritan, because whoever he is, he did you a favor.
So as always, I mean, I couldn't love the episode more. It was just I thought it was just sort of.
Really?
You didn't like it?
I thought this was the least enjoyable of the episodes so far.
I thought last week's was the least enjoyable.
Really?
I was very much, and you know, we had talked about were you here when we talked about the montage in episode 2?
Like the montage.
I didn't like the montage, but my wife was catching up. She hadn't seen it.
Actually, we didn't talk about last week's episode.
No, we didn't. That's right.
That's
because
right.
we were moving last week.
But 2 weeks ago was the montage.
Right.
And I didn't like that. And we talked about
the All That Jazz montage.
Right.
Yeah, you were here for that.
I liked that.
And now I know I've seen it again.
That was the one you were wrong about.
Right. You're right. I was wrong.
Yeah.
Like I saw it again. I was like, great.
So this week had
yeah.
a montage I wasn't crazy about.
See,
What was this week's montage?
This was the one where he's like, I gotta call a reporter now. That reporter didn't like it at all.
Right.
This reporter, I'm gonna have to do something more creative.
I didn't
See how that bit got boring?
I didn't get the song.
Here's the thing. I think that each episode kind of takes us into a different sort of facet of his scumbagginess, you know.
Right.
So I thought that with the, last week where he's chasing down the campers, you've got this whole thing where it's this idea of trying to stay a step ahead of not Tuco, but at the same time being tempted by the money, and sort of all the just kind of where his levels, where he has some bit of morality and that he'll call them, but like just all of his sort of levels of self-preservation and otherwise just kind of general scumminess, come into play. And then this week, it's that same conflict, but then we also get, it's almost the origin story. That chunk of money allows him to sort of evolve. You were talking before about how the suits weren't quite there, so now he's getting the right suits, although he's getting the Ham Lindigo suits.
Here's why here's why you're wrong, because Alonzo's right. There were like 3 great moments in this. I mean, okay, great. Now, that montage was very short. Didn't compare to the other montage, right? But it led us.
We need to know the desperation of him to find somebody to put all this on camera.
Yes, I get that.
And that it seemed like a grand plan, and it turned out it was not a terribly grand plan. The judge slapped him down, and then he was like, "Oh, I'll call the media," But I loved the yelling at the UNM students.
Yes.
Like, I was a big fan of that. And I was a big fan of
Your minutes of
his
experience.
confidence when the other lawyers showed up in the salon. Like in the living, what are you talking, living like a king, your free massages, the footpath. I loved, like, he was just coming into his own, the moments where he realizes, no, I don't have to be afraid of everybody who challenges me. And then we saw him sort of be his lawyer self almost for the first time with the mini Tuco.
Right.
Which I liked a lot, him saying when that guy was mad, he was like, you sold me out. And he was like, no, I helped you, and here's why. You're an idiot. You're a terrible
Yes.
criminal.
Right.
Here's the things you did wrong. And I think he won that argument. That guy left sort of, I think, satisfied.
Mollified. Yeah. He
He
brings
did.
his con artist background, I think, is playing a key role here.
Right, which is why we saw the con artist thing to open the episode.
Absolutely, yeah. Both the confidence, the never backing down, the always having an alternate plan or a different idea on how to sort of spin his way through stuff.
Right. I get what you're saying, because you're saying but those payoffs didn't pay off as much to me. I know what they're going for in each one of those sequences. I just felt like, the big scam at the billboard to have the guy pretend to fall tied together in my mind too neatly with the opening sequence of like giving the guy 5 when the con is over. Like, I understand that all this stuff needed to happen, but for me, I think that it can best be summed up with the first few episodes were about kidnapping, attempted murder, extortion. This episode's about copyright law. Like that's the issue for me.
Right, but I don't
hate
mind
it.
that. Yeah, I know,
No.
of course not.
I wanted it to pay off.
And
a
I got to
little
say, this is, I think, our first real rich payoff of the fact that this show is set in the early 21st century, is that all those people who pulled their phones out when he was climbing that billboard could only take stills.
Nah, yeah, right.
That's what it.
So, that's why having a camera crew is a big deal.
Also, the kid who runs the camera crew, I think he's the same guy who plays Tina Fey's agent in a few episodes of 30
Oh,
Rock.
funny. Oh,
So he's just
maybe.
like that.
the little-
has
the
the like
little-
the
the
kid,
one with the
yeah.
huge jacket, like the
watch,
hapless. It's one of those hapless.
Did you watch
character
Hello,
actors.
Ladies?
I
on
have,
HBO?
yes, and that's what
That's what the first guy he scams.
the Mark.
Oh, really?
The Mark it plays a good part. He has a good.
Yeah,
a
guy
good-
who looks bigger than he is when
That's
he's
right.
next to Stephen Merchant.
Yeah.
Granted, he's enormous.
Yeah, that's a tall.
Well, he's in a
tall man.
wheelchair in.
That's what it is.
In
Oh,
Hello,
I guess he
Ladies.
doesn't
Yeah.
stand at all.
Yeah. Great,
and-
Brett. Good one.
And
Yeah.
nice insight into the depths of Michael McKean's affliction.
Yes.
Somebody told me on Twitter that there's a name for this thing that he has, but even though there's a name for it, it is still considered a completely psychosomatic disease. Like, they've never been able to prove that anybody has it because apparently they'll fall for the placebo every time.
And what
Right.
it is, the
It is this thought that somehow electromagnetic waves and the electricity causes you
feel it.
pain, and you can feel it in your body.
wow.
But they haven't proved
But
that
that
it's
was
a real
such a
thing.
great scene, him running across the street just because we got the neighbor watching, like not helping, bemused.
Yeah.
Well, what would you do with a guy with the big
I'd be like, can I help you?
the big baked potato blanket running
don't even
across
give
the
me
street?
$5.
Oh, we have a prop.
How's the audio on this prop? Is the audio good on this prop? It doesn't open fast enough. I'm ditching it.
That's good stuff. And another great scene. Why am I forgetting her name? An actress I really like, Julie Ann Emery, maybe, who plays the wife of the treasurer.
Oh, right.
Um,
You're the kind of lawyer people call when they're guilty.
That's
Yes.
just, come on. That's what that it just occurred to me. That's what made the episode for me. That works no matter what.
Great small moment when
yeah.
he's picking out the clothes, and he
Yes.
has described in great detail
Yes.
the outfit that he wants, that is high class, just like the, what is it, Hamlindigo, Hamlin
Right.
in Hamlindigo blue. When he calls it out, and then they go further to have like a slightly different shade of blue on his shirt later. Anyways, but when he is waiting for his well-described outfit to come out, he looks over and he sees a bright orange shirt and a busy tie, and he's like, this looks good. He has to put it
Yeah,
back.
that's right. Yeah.
Like, that is what he would pick.
Right.
Otherwise.
Right. That's the shirt and tie combo that attracts him. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that part. I just, I didn't get the payoff as much when he's trying to go and, duplicate the same font. Like, all that stuff is not what I'm here for. It felt like
But that's come up before, the whole idea about the use of his name and da-da-da.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
we're-
what I need. It's just not what I want. Like, this is all.
Well, too bad.
I know, but like in this episode, we saw that awesome discussion with the treasurer and his wife when they're trying to justify
Right.
what they're doing
All that
and why
overtime.
they should keep the money. Yeah, which is
Weekends.
ridiculous. In slavery.
Yeah.
But like, I get that, and then I don't get it anymore. I get a discussion with Mike in the toll booth, but then I don't get any more of that. It's a really quick discussion where I want them to hash it out. But like, those are the things that I appreciate the most, I guess, so far in the show. And then I And then, but this isn't what that episode's about.
Well,
So in the context, this is maybe just like, your
Being
your
left
medicine.
wanting more is what the last thing I'm ever going to complain about.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there were enough good conversations here. I mean, I love that conversation with where he convinces the guy that he helped him and that he's a foolish criminal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the conversation with the treasurer's wife. So look, the more Jonathan Banks that we get, the more Mike is.
Sure.
There's
And,
always
I
gonna-
think they're teasing it out, and we're going to get more.
But I
and more
just
as we go
like that
along.
we're sort of establishing here that the way he'd been before as a lawyer, trying to not be slipping Jimmy, was not working. He's coming home, there's no messages, he wasn't doing anything. And we are seeing the moment where the Saul that we know from Breaking Bad, which is, I have a
The
plan B,
huckster.
and I have a plan C, and I have a D, and I don't have an E, but I'll have E, F, and G.
Right.
I just go.
When
I just
when
go.
I need them, they'll
Right.
show
When
up.
I need
there.
them, they will
Mind.
show up, and if it may be that a guy is going to fake a fall off a billboard. I don't know what it is.
And
No good.
I was just thinking great points. Like this is like a very specific moment when perfectly articulated is what all Saul is about, is when he says, I wish criminals were smarter.
Right, that's right, that's right.
That's it. That's what he's about. And he's about making it smarter because he has had all these plans in the past,
Right.
which he's trying not to do. Now he can live vicariously through his clients
Sure.
and execute all those plans that he can
and
come
just-
up with.
As a former
despite
criminal
himself.
himself, he can be all the more judgmental. But really, that's your plan?
Oh, and they're working on the calculator and with the receipts for how he was going to justify
Oh, right,
Yeah.
like
right.
where that money came in from. I don't know. I like him. I like him
Yeah, me
so.
too.
I just like him so much. I like that.
This might be a dumb question, but are we in Albuquerque or are we somewhere else?
No, we're in
I feel like
Albuquerque.
we're in
We are in Albuquerque. Okay,
Yeah, because they
so
referenced the.
so it'll be interesting to see how like.
Remember the Albuquerque Journal? That
Oh
was
right,
the
of course,
that
of
was
course.
the
Okay,
paper, yeah.
because it's just it's given that he's going to go through this whole sort of shift in identity. Like, how many people are going to be around who know that Saul Goodman is really Jimmy McGill? You know.
Oh, yeah. I wonder.
Right, I don't think
He
but
can't be that
but the
popular
way
then.
we're setting up now. I mean, first of all, he's not a big lawyer,
Right.
so I don't. It's going to turn out like it's not some mystery. He's not in the witness protection program. It doesn't matter. He's just going to change his name to Saul Goodman. and
Right.
that's it. And then I used to
I'm
be
just-
Jimmy
I'm just
McGill.
curious
Also,
as
he
to how
doesn't
that's
look
gonna
like
play out.
himself on the billboard.
He does not even
That's
remotely
true,
look like
yeah.
himself on the billboard. Yeah, I think they got someone else to play him on the billboard.
Well, they photoshopped the hair, so I'm sure they did a lot of other things too.
And I'm very curious of this woman's undeniable attraction to him and why she can't shake that. Like,
And what's going to happen to her that she's not around?
right, what's going to happen to her that she's
Right.
not around? And maybe she'll finally take that job at that big firm that appreciates her.
There you go. Drives her away to her benefit.
All right, so everybody liked it except Brett.
I didn't hate it. I just have liked the other one so much more. It feels like I've got medicine, and the spoonful of sugar is just an awesome tie. I don't know, in some kind of great pinstripe suit.
I can't remember what I was going to say, but
Brett didn't like
I think
it.
it was a spoonful of sugar reference.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what you were
Makes
going to
the
say?
medicine go down
In a most delightful.
in a most delightful way. All right, we're back next week with episode 5. Hero. This was Hero. All right, thanks.